Right now we're hanging out with Sona Tatiyants. I'm hoping that I pronounced it correctly.
You did
Yes,
well.
awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you are an attorney.
I am.
And you are in cahoots with Jennifer Burnham Grubbs in
Yes.
teaching a class about how to plant. Tell us a little bit about the class.
So Jennifer and I teach a class together at the pump station, and it's called Estate Planning from a Mom's Perspective, and we talk about everything moms need to know in order to plan for their families. Trusts, wills, guardian nominations, life insurance. It's a wonderful class. So if you are listening to this, come and visit us. We do this quarterly now.
Quarterly. That's perfect. Quarterly. And it's a one-night class?
Yeah, it's a one-night class. It's a couple of hours, and people just get great feedback about it and tell us, they really love it. And yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, and the information you're providing a lot of times is difficult to think about, but it is necessary whether or not you are working.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, as an attorney, and you do have 2 little girls, you said.
I do.
What are your top 3 tips to really take the extra step in protecting your family?
Well, I do estate planning, so I would say that the first thing you want to have in place is a guardian nomination. God forbid something happens to you or your spouse, or especially if you're single, you want to make sure you know exactly who will be taking care of your kids, whether it's on a temporary basis or a permanent basis. So if you travel a lot and you're concerned, my nanny's taking care of my child, what's going to happen to my child if, I don't come home? Who's my nanny going to call? If she calls the police, they will take them into protective services. So you want to make sure you have someone on a temporary basis and on a long-term basis. Something happens to you long-term. You have a long-term sickness, God forbid you die, you want to make sure your kids are taken care of. The other thing that I would highly suggest for most people to have is to have a trust. You don't want your children to inherit your assets outright. Now, a lot of my clients are younger families. We don't have a lot of assets, but a lot of us have life insurance. You maybe buy $1 million worth of life insurance and you're thinking, I want to make sure my kid's taken care of if something happens to me. Now, if your child is the beneficiary of life insurance, they cannot inherit this money. It will be kept in trust. It will be kept and supervised by court until they reach 18. If you have a trust in place, you can put the money in trust, and then it will be available for their education, for their schooling, travel, whatever that you want your child to use this money for, whatever you're pursuing for them, it will be used for them. So that's how a trust will protect them.
Wow. Wow. There's so much information, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely.
But thank you. And you're here to share it today. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks.